Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Param varishtam brahmishtam paramananda-rupinam Paramarthanandayatim Sadgurum pranatosmyaham. So the student had asked 7 questions in verse 25. Right? And first, he introduced the answer to the 7th question. Right? Tayoho vivekaha katam. Atma anatma vivekaha katam. And then, of course, he gets into the discussion around what is anatma. So Acharya is now talking about what is anatma. Of course, we discussed very briefly about atma so that we can enter into the anatma topic. And then the anatma topic started, right? And we completed the Sthula Shariram discussion, and we had actually entered the Sukshma Shariram topic. So of the 7 questions raised by the student, now the 5th question is being answered, right? And basically, Acharya presents our body, our physical material body as anatma. It means it's only an object of experience, not the experiencer himself. And this body, anatma, is divided into 3 layers, which are known as Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariram. So gross, subtle, and causal bodies. So gross body has been defined already. We saw that in the last class. The subtle body we had started seeing, and it is being explained in verses 28 to 30, 3 verses. So we are now seeing the 29th verse. So this was the verse that we were seeing. Idam shariram shunu sukshma sangitam lingam to panchikrita bhuta sambhavam savasanam karma phalanubhavakam swajnana tonadi rupadi ratmanaha swapno bhavatyasya vibhaktiyavastha swamatra sheshena vibhati yatra. So this subtle body, which is made up of the subtle elements, has got all the tools for transactions. And the subtle body, being material in nature like the gross body, doesn't have consciousness of its own, nor can it generate consciousness on its own. Therefore, we should remember that it has got only borrowed consciousness, exactly like the moon borrowing light from the sun. So the consciousness in the physical body, in the subtle body, and in the causal body, all of them are borrowed only. But from where each of them borrows varies, right? There is an order in this borrowing. Karana Shariram being the finest, it borrows consciousness directly from the Atma. The Sukshma Shariram borrows from the Karana Shariram, and the Sthula Shariram borrows from the Sukshma Shariram. Having thus borrowed consciousness, the Sukshma Shariram becomes sentient and in turn gives sentiency to the Sthula Shariram. So this is the Shastric explanation, right? And we don't introduce this detail of explanation in the introduction to Vedanta or in the Tattva Bodha class, but slowly as we progress, we start introducing these. So Sukshma Shariram becomes very, very important to keep the Sthula Shariram, the physical body, alive and functional. So the very quality of our life, right, depends on the proper functioning of our indriyams, the sense organs, which are part of the Sukshma Shariram only. So the moment Sukshma Shariram quits the Sthula Shariram, of course, along with Karana Shariram, the physical body is dead. So thus the body is a living being only because of the presence of the Sukshma Shariram. So Sukshma Shariram alone makes the very living being possible. Right? We saw all this in the last class, but being extremely subtle, I thought I have to, redo some of this portion. So teacher said, Shunu. It means listen to this carefully. Shunu idam sukshma sangitam lingam shariram. This subtle body is inaccessible to modern science, right? That's why it's named subtle. And it indicates that it is inaccessible to any pramanam other than Shastram. So it is apaurusheya vishaya. So Sukshma Shariram is apaurusheyam, alaukikam. So Shunu. may you listen to sangitam, meaning named, subtle body or finer body, to apanchikrita bhuta sambhavam. So lingam means that which reveals the evidences. So it manifests the consciousness principle by borrowing consciousness. So self-awareness is the empirical awareness in the Sukshma Shariram. Through that alone, we discover the absolute consciousness. Therefore, self-awareness is possible only because of Sukshma Shariram. And since it helps in knowing the Atma, Sukshma Shariram is called Lingam. So Lingam means that which reveals, evidences, manifests the consciousness principle by borrowing consciousness. In short, that which helps us in knowing the Atma. So the next word is Lingam Shariram to Apanchikrita Bhuta Sambhavam. Two is to differentiate between Sukshma Shariram and Sthula Shariram. While the gross body is born out of gross elements, the subtle body, on the other hand, right, is born out of subtle elements. Apanchikrita means ungrossified, right? So it is not gross. So then Savasanam Karma Phala Anubhavakam. We've seen all this in the last class. So the Linga Shariram has got so many Punya Papa Karmani born out of the past actions, right? And we saw it in the previous shloka. Buddhyadi avidya apicha kama karmani. Punya Papa Karmas, especially the Prarabdha stored in the Sukshma Shariram. It is said in the previous shloka. And Shankaracharya says, not only Prarabdha Karmas are there, but Prarabdha Vasanas are also stored in the Sukshma Shariram. Because every karma, very interesting point here, every karma produces a Punya Papam and also a Vasana. Vasana is the tendency to do the same karma. So the result of the karma is karma phalam. The tendency to do the same karma is called vasana. So the karma phalam will affect me by giving situations as bhokta, whereas the vasanas will influence me as a karta by holding me to the same thing. So a very simple example. When I take coffee for a few days, right? Whatever is the result of the caffeine, it will be there. That is karma phalam. I'll feel good, right? All of that. In addition to that, that drinking activity is generating a vasana, a repetitive tendency which asks me, the karta, to drink coffee every day at 5 a.m., right? Drink today also, it will tell. If I say, no, I won't drink, we have a different problem and therefore we get instigated to do that karma, right? So that is the vasana. So the vasana influences the karta. Karma phalam affects the bhokta. Therefore, we have prarabdha karmas also, prarabdha vasanas also. And because of that alone, different people have got different inclinations. That is why we see some babies deeply interested in music, right? Some babies deeply interested in construction activities. Some of them, suppose a baby which is born in the magician's family, may be so interested in magic from the beginning. Could just be Purva Janma Vasana also. So karma affects the bhokta, vasana influences the karta. So we are all full of vasanas, and if we are interested in spirituality, if we feel like attending the Vivekachudamani class today, it is because of your spiritual vasana, right? Generally, people do not have interest in spirituality, right? So savasanam, karma phala anubhavakam, these are all adjectives to Sukshma Shariram. So vasanadi saha vartate iti savasanam, Sukshma Shariram. And karma phala anubhavakam. This Sukshma Shariram alone converts the Jivatma into Karta and Bhokta. Through its vasanas, it makes me into a Karta, and therefore, right? And then through the karmas, it makes me into a Bhokta. So Jivatma becomes a Karta and Bhokta only when he identifies with the Sukshma Shariram. So the moment I go to sleep, there is no identification with the Sukshma Shariram, right? So I am not a Karta or a Bhokta. So Sukshma Shariram alone makes a Jivatma a Karta Bhokta. How does it do that? Karma phala anubhavakam. It makes the Jivatma an experiencer by making it a Bhokta of the karma phalam, of all the punya papams accumulated over so many janmas. Therefore, karma phalani anubhavayati, makes us experience, right? And this Sukshma Shariram is Upadihi Atmanaha. I gave you the example of that X in the proximity of Y makes Y appear differently. And X is called Upadi, Y is called Upahitam. So Upadi makes Upahitam appear differently, right? So I talked about the crystal, right? The crystal is called Upahitam, and whatever is the colored object which is making it colored, that colored object is called Upadi. Maybe it's a red flower or something. So similarly, all the three sharirams are called Upadi for the Jivatma, right? And why are they called Upadi? Because the Atma, which is originally Paramatma, right, in the proximity of the three sharirams gets distorted and appears as Jivatma. So the original Atma is a karta and a bhokta, non-doer, non-enjoyer. But in the presence of the Sukshma Shariram, it becomes, or it appears to become, a karta and bhokta, right? And as long as we don't know that Sukshma Shariram is only an Upadi, we will conclude that we are indeed Jivatmas. So therefore, Acharya says, Swa Ajnanataha Anadihi Upadihi Atmanaha, right? So, Swa Ajnanataha Anadihi. Because of the self-ignorance, ignorance of our real higher nature, right? Because of that nature, we behave like this, right? So, Anyani is one who only uses the Sukshma Shariram, and he clearly knows that as long as the Sukshma Shariram is there, I will appear to be a finite being, but I am only appearing, right? Exactly like the bent rod example of Sureshwaracharya, the Jnani knows. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to take the rod out of the water. It is enough if he understands why the rod is bent, right? Exactly. He understands that these are all upadis which are distorting my real nature, right? And when did the upadi come? Anadi, right? So Anadi, it is an eternal upadi because even during pralayam, when the current Sukshma Shariram gets dismantled, we still have the Karana Shariram, right? So Srishti after Srishti, this will continue, right? We will see that Karana Shariram, when we study the Karana Shariram, we will see Ajnanam is also Anadi. The Sukshma Shariram also is always there, either in active form or in potential form. Therefore, Acharya says, Anadi Upadihi Atmanaha, right? So, Swa Ajnanataha Atmanaha Anadihi Upadi. So now, Yatra swamatra sheshena vibhati swapnaha asya vibhakti avastha bhavati. So the author adds a note regarding the subtle body, that is swapno bhavati asya vibhakti avastha. There is a particular state of experience especially associated with the Sukshma Shariram. We've got three bodies and we've got three states of experience also. Each state of experience is connected to a particular body, right? One of the particular bodies. The physical body is associated with the Jagrata Avastha or waking state. It's not that the mind is not there in the waking state. Primarily, the physical body is associated with the waking state, right? And in the 29th verse, right, we are seeing, here we see, author is connecting the Sukshma Shariram with the dream state, Swapna Avastha. Therefore, he says, Asya Sukshma, Asya means Sukshma Sharirasya, with regard to the subtle body, Vibhakti Avastha. Here, Vibhakti is not the Sanskrit grammar Vibhakti, right? Here it is referring to a distinct state, and that state is Swapna Avastha. Even though Sukshma Shariram is required for the waking state also, it is specifically connected with the dream state because the dream is exclusively a projection of the mind which belongs to the Sukshma Sharira. We do not employ a physical body at all in the Swapnavastha, right? So it is just the experiences that have been registered over multiple janmas. What all we have experienced is stored in the form of vasanas, and that is what is coming out from the mind or chittam, the memory. It is getting projected as an inner world of objects and experiences. They are just thoughts only. So, Sukshma Shariram contributes to our dream state, and therefore the specific state associated with Sukshma Shariram is Swapnavastha. So, Yatra Swamatra Sheshena Vibhati, right? So, Yatra means Swapnavasthayam, during the dream, it shines, right? What shines? The Sukshma Shariram shines. Swamatra Sheshena Vibhati. Only the subtle body, right? Because it is the only thing which is alive and functioning during the dream state. Sheshabhuta Sukshma Sharira Matrena. So, With the Sukshma Shariram alone, Atma shines during the Swapnavastha. Therefore, Swapna is the specific state associated with the Sukshma Shariram, the Linga Shariram. Right? So, Asya Vibhakti Avastha Bhavati. Now, the next verse that we are going to enter is still a continuation. It's an irregular meter. And we've got both, as you saw in Vivekachudamani, there is a lot of meter or chandas changes. So the next one doesn't even have a chandas. You can actually read it in a prose form, right? So we'll continue. Sarvavyapritikaranam lingam.
Sarvavyapritikaranam lingam.
Idam syat chidatmanah pumsaha.
Idam syat chidatmanah pumsaha.
Vasyadikamiva takshnaha.
Vasyadikamiva takshnaha.
Tenaivatma bhavatya sangoyam.
Tenaivatma bhavatya sangoyam.
So, sarva vyapriti karanam lingam idam. This sukshma shariram, right, is meant for what? Vyapara, transactions, taking and giving input and output. So, all transactions involving receiving and giving things. For all transactions throughout our waking period, we use different instruments. Jnanendriyani, karmendriyani, antakaranam, prana, right? However, it isn't a, basically all of these, it isn't a tool, but it is a kind of, if you should notice that Jnanendriyani, karmendriyani and antakaranam can be considered as karanams, but prana is not directly a karanam. It is a housekeeper. It maintains the person alive and healthy. It doesn't participate in any worldly transactions, right? So it doesn't come under karanam. All the others are different tools in the Sukshma Shariram. It's exactly like this, the workmen have some coats in some factories you can see, and they will have lots of pockets in the coats, and they will take out hammer, chisel, spanner, etc. So exactly like that, they're all organized. So similarly, when we wake up from sleep, the first thing we do in the waking state is we put on the Sukshma Shariram toolkit. Then our day starts. So Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani, Antakaranam, they all start taking care. So Sukshma Shariram is the toolkit, Karanam for Sarva Vyapriti, for all transactions, spiritual, religious, as well as worldly transactions. So Sarva Vyapriti Karanam. And it is the toolkit employed by whom? Syat Chidatmanah Pumsaha. So the human being, here Pumsaha refers to human being rather than a male, right? It's translated as a human being. Chidatmanaha, who is the Chidatma, meaning Jivatma, and who in reality is Paramatma. So Paramatma, right, is Jivatma, Chidatmanaha, Pumsaha Karanam Syat. Like what? Takshnaha Vasi Adikam Iva. Takshnaha means a carpenter. Just as a carpenter, Vasi is like a chisel or an instrument he uses to chip off the portion of the wood, right, to make furniture. So that instrument is called Vasi Adikam, meaning other such instruments like hammer, tape, measure, pencil, nail, puller, any of them, right? So a carpenter enjoys carpentry only when all his instruments are there. So the entire set is referred to as Adikam. Similarly, the Atma becomes a Karta Bhokta, doer experiencer, only when he puts on the coat of the Sukshma Shariram. So with the coat of Sukshma Shariram, the Atma appears as Karta Bhokta, and when it is dismantled, taken off, Atma by itself is Asangaha. Asangaha means unconnected to doership and enjoyership. Kartrutva Bhoktritva Rahitam, right? So it is said in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Ananvagatam punyena nanvagatam papena tirnohi tada sarvan chokan hridayasya bhavati. So it is said there. And in Brahma Sutra also, there is a sutra that Shankaracharya must be remembering, Takshnaha Vasi Adikam Iva. So similarly, for the Atma, Sukshma Shariram is an instrument distorting the Paramatma into Karta, Bhokta, Jivatma, but by itself, Tena eva ayam Atma asangaha bhavati. Because of this reason, I am Atma, because all these are superimposed or like toolkits, You have to understand that Atma should be understood as Asangaha by itself. This means intrinsically Atma is neither a Karta nor a Bhokta. They are all only transferred attributes, exactly like the colored object. The red flower transfers its attribute to the clear crystal, right? The crystal remains colorless, Asangaha. Similarly, I am like the colorless crystal, like Atma, and the Sukshma Shariram is like the colored object. So the color is Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam, and that color is appearing in me. Therefore, the ignorant, I claim I am a Karta, Bhokta, and Jivatma. Really, I am Asangaha. Incidentally, I read recently in one of maybe Swamiji's classes, so that Sphatikam we wear around ourselves, right? I never knew why only after a certain age people used to wear that, etc. It is to remind us that you are as clear, as crystal clear as the Sphatikam. And that is why for Shiva also we say Shuddha Sphatika Sankasham, right? In the Rudra shloka, Dhyana shloka, it comes. Very nice how everything starts connecting. So Sphatikam is to remind you, the crystal, right? So in reality, I myself, the Atma, am Asangaha Sphatikavat, like the crystal, exactly like the crystal. And that is why we wear that mala. So our tradition wants to remind us that we are ever pure. So Tenaiva, because of this reason, the Sukshma Shariram, right, seemingly makes us karta. And in reality, it is asangaha. So with this, the Sukshma Shariram topic is complete. So in the Sukshma Shariram topic, Shankaracharya has written a lot of verses. We only chose 3 and we've completed 3 because in the tradition now, actually Pujya Swamiji, then Swamiji now. So I think we should go with their wisdom that in order to make sure that we are comprehensive, yet, we don't have it too elongated, these 108 verses have been chosen and only 3 from Sukshma Shariram have been chosen. We can read the rest if we want. So now Karana Shariram topic is going to come. Very deep portion. So let's go ahead with it. Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shaktihi.
Avyaktanamni Paramesha Shaktihi.
Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Para.
Anadya Vidya Trigunatmika Para.
Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya.
Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya.
Yaya Jagat Sarvamidam Prasuyate.
Yaya Jagat Sarvamidam Prasuyate.
So the Karana Shariram is considered to be the innermost layer of the body, the finest, right? So therefore, comprehending the concept of Karana Shariram itself will require a lot of mental application. And many students, right, tell Swamiji, and I've also seen when I have been studying that it takes almost decades before you get to understand something about the Karana Shariram. It's not very clear. That's because it is very, very abstract and very, very fine. And it's the finest body of ours. And this body you keep until moksha. Right? During death, we only shed the physical body. And during pralayam, we shed the sukshma shariram. But even after shedding those during creation and after creation, we hold on to the karna shariram, in which we keep all our punya papa karma, right? Karana shariram will resolve only with self-knowledge. So karna shariram has got the longest life, the finest body and most abstract, right? And you have to reflect on this topic again and again. And to understand this, we have to quickly go back to what we saw. Vedanta said a product can never come out of nothing, right? So if you say something can come out of nothing, then it is called Asat Karyavada of Nyaya philosophy. Vedanta rejects Asat Karyavada. Hopefully someday we will get to see all of this. If something has to originate, it should come out of something else, a seed or a cause in which it must already be in potential form. So if we see a plant coming out of the earth, we know that before the origination of the plant, under the ground, there must have been the seed. So if the seeds are not there, plants cannot just like that germinate. So this principle that every product has got a cause, we extended that to the entire cosmos. Fortunately, science also talks about the Big Bang theory of evolution, and they talk of a state of singularity, right? Point of no information, but they call it singularity. But they say we are unable to understand what is there, right? So in Taittiriya Upanishad, we saw Tasmadva etasmad atmana akashas sambhutaha akashad vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhyah prithvi prithivya oshadayah oshadhibhyonnam annat purushah. So there must be the seed in potential form, and that seed of this entire cosmos is called Avyaktam, the unmanifest. So therefore, before the evolution of the universe, there were two things. One is the seed of the universe, which I am now calling Avyaktam, the unmanifest, but present. And there is a second thing also, that is the consciousness principle as revealed by Vedanta. So science does not accept this consciousness, right, or Chaitanya. But Vedanta reveals the nature of consciousness as eternal and all-pervading, right? Nityam and Sarvagatam. So before the Big Bang, before the evolution of cosmos, there was Atma, the Chaitanyam and Anatma. That Anatma is called Avyaktam, Avyakta Atma. This is first thing that we must remember. Avyaktam, Avyakta Anatma. Okay, Anatma in unmanifest form. And in this Avyakta Anatma, everything must be potentially there. Means whatever is produced manifests later, whether it is the macro universe or the micro universe, galaxies, etc., or all the living beings to the right up to the smallest bacteria. So therefore, the Sukshma Shariram of every living being must be there in that cosmic Avyaktam. So every subtle body must be there in potential form. You can consider it something like so many files, so many music, so much we are placing on the, say, on the cloud and now retrieving. Earlier, at least we used to have a stick. Now we can just put it on the cloud and retrieve it, right? Something like that. So if it's possible by mankind this way, then you must remember that this is Bhagavan, right? Ishvara. So all the genetic codes of all the Sukshma Sharirams and Stula Shariram are there in the Karana Shariram and the Karana Prapancha. So the Avyaktam is what is referred to here. Avyaktam is the unmanifest form of all of the Anatma. So not only the Stula Sukshma Sharirams must be in seed or potential form, the corresponding universe also must be there. Because with the help of the Stula Shariram, I experience the gross universe, and with the help of the Sukshma Shariram, the mind and the intellect, I am able to experience the subtle universe of emotions like love, hate, etc. Right? So the world of emotions, the world of ideas, the world of concepts, this is called the subtle universe. So corresponding to the Stula Shariram, we've got Stula Prapancha. Corresponding to the Sukshma Shariram, we've got Sukshma Prapancha. Right? So if you go to a library, you see huge millions of books are there, right? Now, finally, all of them are getting digitized and stored on the cloud. Something like that, right? So we are now seeing Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram. Correspondingly at macro, Stula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, right? And of course, we will see Karana Prapancha, right? So the seed version of the Prapancha, the universe, is called Karana Prapancha. And to convey this, the Vedanta uses two distinct Sanskrit words. Karana Shariram, the micro version is called Avidya, right? Avidya means the Karana Shariram, which was there before the Big Bang or before creation in the Avyaktam, which alone is responsible for our current Sukshma and Stula Sharirams. Correspondingly, the Karana Prapancha, the macro version, is incorporated in that, right? Avyaktam. That Avyaktam is called Maya. This Maya is from Prapancha angle, the seed version of Prapancha. Avidya is from Shariram angle, the seed version of Shariram. Both Maya and Avidya are there in one Avyaktam, but we can differentiate the micro-macro only after the creation, right? So in Avyaktam, they are all in undifferentiated form, both Maya as well as Avidya, representing the Sharirams as well as the Prapancham. So interestingly, I just got the Chandogya Upanishad, 6th chapter, the 12th section here with me. There, a very interesting dialogue happens between Uddalaka and the student Shvetaketu. Okay, this is 6:12. Nyagrodha phalamata ahareti idam bhagava iti bhinditi bhinnam bhagava iti kimatra pashyasi tyaniva ivema dhana bhagava itya samangaikam bhinditi bhinna bhagava iti kimatra pashyasi iti na kinchana bhagava iti. So this is the dialogue. What is this dialogue? So the teacher is telling the student, bring a fruit from this banyan tree. So the student Shvetaketu says, here it is, revered sir. So then the teacher says, break it. Then he says, it's broken. So what do you see in this? These seeds are small particles. Sir, he says, break one of these, my child. And then he says, it is broken. What do you see in it? Nothing, right? Then Acharya says, Tagum hovacha yam vai saumyaita manimanam na nibhalayasa etasya vai saumyeshaun nimna evam mahanyagrodhas tishtati shraddatsva saumyeti. Right? So what he says is, the father says to the son, dear boy, this subtle essence which you do not perceive, growing from the subtle, right, this essence, the large banyan tree thus stands. Shraddatsva, have faith, dear boy. Right? So what is this dialogue actually showing us? Right? So it is, first thing is Shraddatsva. First of all, you should have Shraddha, because it is not proved by Pratyaksha Pramanam, but it is proved by Anumana Pramanam or Arthapati Pramanam, Karya Anumeya. Thus, we can infer the Avyaktam. Shastra talks about the Avyaktam. Both Anumana Pramanam and Shastra Pramanam help us understand the Avyaktam before creation, which has got Maya and Avidya, and Maya is responsible for Stula Sukshma Prapancha. Avidya is responsible for Sukshma Stula Shariram. Right? How can I experience or understand this Karana Shariram? Right? Why are we saying Anumanam? Because we see this huge banyan tree, we assume or we can presume that there must have been a seed from which this came out. Exactly like that, when this universe is so beautiful, you presume that it must have been in Avyaktam form earlier. So that is the Anumana Pramayam, along with the Shastra Pramanam. So the next question is, how can I experience or understand the Karana Shariram? Right? So can I do that? So Shastra gives a model. It says, go to sleep. And when you are in a dreamless sleep, you've got no experience of the physical body. Even though you have it, you don't experience it. No experience of Stula Shariram, because the mind is resolved. Since sense organs are not functioning, you experience what? Total blankness. So in Dakshinamurti Stotram, we see this line, Sanmatra Karanopa Samharanato Yobhut Sushupta Puman Pragaswapsamiti Prabodha Samaye Yapratya Bignyayate. Right? So it's exactly like the brilliance of the sun when intercepted by the eclipse, right? Then after that it comes out. Similarly, the power of cognition only remains suspended during deep sleep. The self exists as a pure being, even though unrecognized, due to the veil of Maya. So a person on awakening becomes aware, right, that he was asleep earlier, right? And he recognizes the previous state of ignorance as unreal, right? He knows that. So when you're experiencing the blankness, Shastram says, that blankness in deep sleep is not nothingness. That blankness is an object of experience, and its experiencer is the consciousness which reveals the blankness. So the blankness which is revealed by consciousness is the Karana Shariram, which contains everything that is going to come when you wake up and what is going to come in the next birth, next creation also. I can't see them. They are all Avyaktam. Therefore, Avyakta Namni Acharya introduces, right? And the total seed form is called Avyaktam here, meaning unmanifest, not available for sensory revelation. So, indriyaihi na vyajyate iti avyaktam. So, avyakta namni, the unmanifest, in which everything is there, but in an undifferentiated condition. Exactly what the example that was given in Chandogya Upanishad. Right? So, put in these days modern languages, it's the kind of soft copy of the universe which is there in the avyaktam, right? Avyakta namni. And it has to be unpacked at the time of creation and blown out. So, yaya idam sarvam jagat prasuyate. Right? So, sa maya avyakta namni paramesha shaktihi. Right? So, avyakta namni was the first thing we saw. Next is paramesha shaktihi. So, this avyaktam consists of both maya and avidya, karana prapancha and karana shariram. It is called shaktihi, the power of God. So, paramesha means parameshwaraha, the supreme God, the power. Shaktihi is power. So, it is called power because with the help of this power, Bhagavan brings out or throws out the entire universe consisting of prapancha and shariram, the universe and the body. And the Bhagavan doesn't create this universe according to his whims and fancies. No. Already it is there as avyaktam in potential form, and they are activated only based on the law of karma. So the karna shariram of all the jivas, infinite number of them, they're all there in avyaktam, right? And which one should manifest at which time is not accidental. It is governed by the sanchita karma of every jiva, and therefore the prapancha's state of affairs is governed by the composite or the total sanchita karma or total prarabdha karma of all the individuals put together. So if there is a coronavirus that is affecting the entire universe, which an epidemic of that sort happens, say, once in 100 years, 150 years, it means that is when the composite prarabdha karma of the sum total of all the millions of people, millions and millions and billions of people come together to cause this kind of problem, right? Nothing is random here, right? It's all according to the law of karma. So what is the definition of Ishvara or God in this context? It is not Vishnu. It is not Brahmaji. So the word Paramesha in this context must be understood properly, right? It is not a personified God, right? It is not any of those. It is basically, if you remember our introduction to Vedanta, etc., it is not the Ishta Devata, Eka Rupa Ishvara. It is not Aneka Rupa Ishvara, but it is Arupa. That's the final, formless, eternal, all-pervading consciousness, Paramesha, about whom we've talked about the five-featured, eternal, all-pervading consciousness. So we should remember that for Hinduism, the ultimate God is consciousness. All other versions of God are temporary, used as stepping stones for the devotee. Very important to note that this is Advaita Vedanta Parampara. Okay? So the ultimate God is consciousness. And who is God? Consciousness. And what is Avyaktam? The potential form of matter and energy, which is looked upon as the power of Bhagavan. So therefore, consciousness uses the potential matter and energy to throw out the creation. So Chaitanyam is God. Potential matter and energy is Maya and Avidya. So it is called Avyaktam. So Paramesha Shaktihi. Right? Then, if you see, many people like Bhakti Granthas and Puranas. Why? Because it is very easy to listen to it and enjoy. It's like listening to a story or going to a music concert and enjoying, right? But Vedanta, we must remember, is not a time pass like that or casual listening. So it requires serious inquiry and very abstract subject, right? So we have to be really engrossed to understand the concepts behind it, right? So Shakti here means infinite power. And in Vedanta, there are two powers, Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Both belong to Avyaktam, which is sometimes called Prakriti also. So Lord Krishna says in the 9th chapter, Mayadhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam. Hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. So Vikshepa Shakti means the power to throw out the cosmos, manifest the cosmos out, right? That is Vikshepa Shakti from the Avyaktam, that one. And the second Shakti is Avarana Shakti, which means concealing power, covering power, the cause of ignorance. So the human ignorance is already there in Avyaktam. It is not that we acquire ignorance when we suddenly become, old. Do we acquire ignorance when we like suddenly turn, say, 18 or 21? No. Self-ignorance is already there in Avyaktam, and it is called Avarana Shakti. So these two Shaktis are going to affect our life, and therefore we should understand them. So the job of the Vikshepa Shakti is to throw the universe out, which means not only the universe, our body and mind are also thrown out of the Avyaktam. That is how we get this body, mind, sense complex, because of the Vikshepa Shakti of Avyaktam, right? Which is, according to Vedanta, Avyaktam throws out a creation which is not absolutely real. It only projects an unreal creation, which we earlier called mithya. That's the connection. So that word we must remember. So a mithya prapancha, the Avyaktam projects, right, governed by the law of karma. That is why I said I'm not going to answer this question on are Brahman and Maya different and world different, etc. because they're all very subtle concepts that will now get clearer as we proceed. So the prapancham is mithya. So the Avyaktam projects governed by the law of karma, and after the world is projected, the body and mind are also projected. All living beings come. Body is there, mind is there, sense organs are there, world experiences become possible. So when we enter the world and start experiencing the world, the Avarana Shakti of Avyaktam becomes operational. What does the Avarana Shakti do? Very important. It conceals a significant factor. The fact is, which fact does it conceal? It conceals the fact regarding the nature of an Atma and the fact regarding the nature of Atma, the self. The difference between Atma and Anatma is completely ignored by us. Because of that, the fact that this universe is unreal is also concealed. So the unreality of the universe is concealed by the Avarana Shakti. Thus, Vikshepa Shakti projects an unreal world, and Avarana Shakti conceals the unreality of the unreal universe. Therefore, we don't know this universe is unreal. We take this universe as real. And it is so strong a notion that when Vedanta tells us the entire when it tells us this fact, the entire humanity gets really, really angry with the Vedantic teacher and the script, right? And the scriptures. Not only laymen, but even philosophical systems like Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, all are strongly against this Vedantic teaching because according to them, the world is so real and you just casually dismiss it as unreal and it's projected. So Vedanta may say that, but they don't accept it, they declare. So that's the glory of the Avarana Shakti. And to understand the Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti of Avyaktam, the seed of the universe, Vedanta gives a common daily experience as our example. Our own sleep or nidra is the example. The deep sleep state also has got twofold powers, Vikshepa and Avarana Shakti. So sometimes I wonder, when thinking about the dream and why is it even there in the first place, right? Why should human beings have dream? Sometimes I feel God has created this also so that we get a clue from that and see that it's an analogy and actually wake up to our higher real self, right? Suddenly this thought occurred to me as to, otherwise why dream is not very useful, right? So except for this, according to me, I don't know, this is my personal view, so I thought I can just share with you. So the role of Vikshepa Shakti is our deep sleep is suddenly disturbed by the projection of an unreal dream world. So the Vikshepa Shakti of Nidra projects an unreal dream world when we are blissfully asleep. And it is full-fledged world. It has Panchabhutas, continents, sun, star, time, space. It even has an unreal physical body in the unreal dream, right? Because the original physical body is lying on the bed. Thus, we have unreal body, unreal sense organs, unreal universe, all projected by the Vikshepa Shakti of Nidra. It's not enough that we create this universe. We have to enter it and undergo experiences also with the help of dream body, dream sense organs, dream spectacles, dream dentures. As Swamiji says, if you're running and you're thirsty, you need dream water, not the water bottle sitting next to you, right? Very interesting. So the tragedy is the moment I enter the dream, the Avarana Shakti takes over. And its job is to cast a spell. So I become completely spellbound. The fact that the dream is only a dream and therefore unreal, that is covered up. So the dreamness of the dream, the unreality of the dream is concealed by the Avarana Shakti of Nidra. And that means once I become a dreamer, I never look at myself as a dreamer. I do not look at the dream world as dream, right? And as Swamiji puts it, for a dreamer is not, for a dreamer, a dream is not dream in dream. He is in his so-called Jagrata Avastha. So he is seeing a real world. The world is not within himself. The world is outside for him. The world will survive his death also. And even if the dream guru comes and tells, he will argue with the dream guru and never admit it is a dream. It is real. That is the role and power of the Avarana Shakti. So Vedanta says the same kind of adamant, right, arguments we see in the waking state also for the entire humanity. And Vedanta says Prakriti projects an unreal universe with the help of the Vikshepa Shakti, and the Avarana Shakti makes us wrongly conclude that this tangible, visible universe is real. So no amount of Guru's pleadings will convince them that it is all mere projection, all Maya Karyam only. Especially when we are going through serious problems, right? Some peak of virus, or somebody has had some serious heart problems or stroke, etc. You can't go and tell, oh, all this is mithya, unreal, it's all Avarana Shakti's thing. They will not, they will be very angry, right? So the Jnani is very careful. He never tells this everywhere. And Krishna advises, na buddhi bedam janayet. Never tell all facts to all the people. Tell only to the chosen ones who approach you for liberation, right? So that is why sometimes I'm also wondering whether, we should put up Upanishads in public sites or not, because it is supposed to be given only when asked for, when craved for, right? So the Vikshepa Shakti projects this unreal world, and Avarana Shakti covers this fact, right? So coming back to our topic, therefore we conclude that this world is very, very real. The body is very real. Our experience is real, and so on. And we have a lot of confusion, and then we take on the problems and samsara, right? So the Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti belong to Avyaktam or Prakriti. Prakriti itself belongs to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is basically Brahman, the all-pervading or consciousness principle. Blessed by consciousness, right? Or in the presence of Prakriti evolves into the creation. It's not an activity, blessing. It's just the presence of consciousness. Sanitya matrena, just by the presence, Prakriti evolves, right? And the Prakriti has to be alive. All the inbuilt laws are there. And that is what Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So basically, I'm like the president, Brahman says, right? Suyate Sacharacharam. Shankaracharya uses here also. And Paramesha Shakti, Bhagavan's power is called that. And Suyate Sacharacharam, right? So in my presence, the Prakriti evolves. Then the next one is Anadhya Vidya, and then we have Maya. So Avyaktam has got two titles, Maya and Avidya. When you use the word Maya, two factors are highlighted. The power of projection, the creative power, which is Vikshepa Shakti, and then the Avarana Shakti, which is the reason why we forget, right? What our real true nature is. Our mind is under the grip of the Avarana Shakti. So we have to discover, right? So the cover is Avaranam, and we have to remove it, right? So Ajnana Timirandasya Nanan Jala Shalakya in Guru Stotram. Jnanan Jana Shalakaya. So Shalaka is the surgeon's needle dipped in Jnanam, and with that he removes that cataract or the Avaranam, that is called dismissing the cover. So when the teacher dismisses the cover, the student discovers, I am the consciousness, the only reality. Whatever I experience is the unreal universe, which seems to be real only by borrowing my reality. Therefore, from the standpoint of macro projection, the word Maya is used. And from the standpoint of micro-concealing power, the word avidya is used. Avidya means ignorance, concealment. Maya means projection. But one thing you must remember, it is not strictly followed, this terminology. Sometimes they are used synonymously also. So Maya is derived from the root ma, right? So the adadigana dhatu. And the common meaning of word ma is to measure or to know. But there are other meanings also, and one of the meanings is to project or to exhibit or to display. So it is called Maya. Interestingly, I remember Swamiji explaining this, why it is Mati, right? Mati iti Maya, which is Kartru Vyutpatti, or Mati Anaya iti Maya. Maya projects the world. How did this measure become, projection? In the olden days, they used to have that paddy or arak, right? Those measuring cups in which they would fill rice, and then the guy who comes to sell the rice or, to barter the rice would close the measure with his hand like this and then just turn it upside down into the rice bowl. So the rice which goes into the measure is closed and turned, and then from there it comes out again in the vessel. So, Shastra has used this very, very, very nice and different way, interesting way, and is saying that Maya also has everything in potential form, and then like the measure, and then it takes it out, right? It brings it out. Therefore, Mati Anaya iti Maya, Maya projects the world. So both statements are okay. Mati iti Maya or Mati Anaya iti Maya. So therefore, Paramesha Shaktihi Anadya Vidya, that adjective Anadi is very important. We cannot talk about the beginning of Avyaktam or Maya or Avidya. It is all beginningless, basically. So we have now seen all these words, Avyaktam, Shaktihi, Avidya, Maya, right? So 4 different words we have seen, all synonyms. Then Trigunatmika, very loaded word, means Avyaktam or Prakriti has got 3 gunas: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, right? Guna in this context should not be translated as attribute. We must always remember that. So that the three gunas put together is Avyaktam, like a rope with 3 strands, like this plait in the hair, right? The 3 string strands are together plaited. So it is like that, right? So the 3 gunas, and the 14th chapter of the Gita talks about the 3 gunas and their functions. Sattva guna standing for knowing faculty, which is experienced by all living beings, especially the human beings. Only with the mind and jnanendriyani, I can know the ultimate reality. So Sattva guna is very, very important, right? We should not criticize Maya at any time. We should remember that moksha is possible only because of Sattva guna of Maya, right? So they call it Vidya Maya. So the knowing faculty will not be there at the time of pralayam. It is there in potential form, right? So the potential knowing faculty is called Sattvam. Similarly, Rajoguna stands for doing faculty. When we use the Karmendriyani, that is also very, very important. So doing faculty is Rajoguna. And third one is Tamas. When we are tired of both, then we need rest. So the resting faculty, that is Tamoguna. So it's a very, very important guna. Even Bhagavan during Pralayam is using Tamoguna, resting for some time. Therefore, knowing, doing, resting faculties are there in the living beings. And all these 3 faculties are potentially present in Avyaktam. So Trigunatmika, consisting of 3 components of Sattva, Rajas, Tamamsi. So Triguna Atmika, Atma here means Swarupam. So Trayaha Gunaha Atma Swarupam Yasyaha Sa. So, and then the para, next one, meaning the superior one. So Avyaktam is called superior, the manifest one. So it is because it is the, basically Avyaktam is called superior because it is the cause of the universe. Universe is called Vyaktam, the manifested one, right? Avyaktam is the unmanifested one. Vyaktam is the manifested one. So basically, children are born to parents. So therefore, the karanam, the cause, the parents must be respected, right? So Avyaktam is said to be para, a superior, being the cause, and the universe is apara, it is inferior, being the effect. So I'm sure you will remember the Gita, a whole chapter is dedicated to this, chapter 7. Therefore, para. Then the next word in the second line is karya Karyanumeya, right? So here it is Karyanumeya, Karya Anumeya. Since the Avyaktam, the seed is unmanifest, it is not available for sensory perceptions. So basically our sense organs can only differentiate, right? Only when it is in the Avyaktam, only when it is in the manifested form, Vyakta form. Otherwise we can't, discern anything. Even in sleep, it is called Dainandina Pralayam, daily experience pralayam, the total blankness, right? So we experience that, and it is not pratyaksham, but it is anumeyam. Anumeyam means inferable. How do you infer? What is the basis? Like if it has rained whole night, in the morning when you see a lot of water around you, you know that it must have rained the previous day night. So similarly here also, based on the karyam, the karanam can be thought of or deduced. So based on karya prapancha, based on the universe, science presumes that before Big Bang, this must have existed in some form, right? So we add not only matter, even consciousness must have been in potential form, in a non-functional form, right? So law of conservation applies there also. We say, Vedanta says, not only matter and energy is preserved, consciousness is also preserved. So even before creation, only matter was in potential form. Consciousness was also there in non-functional form. So consciousness is not absent, you see, in deep sleep state, right? It is very much there. It is non-operational. So Vedanta adds that similarly, even before creation, not only there was matter in potential form, but there was consciousness also in some non-operational form. So Sudhiya eva, right? So this is known or inferred by a person with clear mind. So this presumption should be done not with the help of your intellect alone, but along with the Shastram, right? So our tradition says use the intellect, right? But use the Shastram also. So the person who uses Shastram and intellect is called Sudhi. And by such a person using two pramanams, logic and Shastra, right? So if you see in Brahma Sutra, Acharya uses so many, he points out logical fallacies also in certain cases and the other philosophies, and he dismisses. And even pure logic along with Shastra, he uses to defend some of the Shastra statements also. So Shankaracharya says the only cosmology that is convincing is the Vedic cosmology, because which presents what was there before, not only matter in potential form, but consciousness also. So the consciousness, matter or avyaktam mixture in potential form is called Bhagavan, Ishvaraha. So the Karana Prapancha with all of this, Maya Sahitam Brahman, that is Ishvaraha, right? So the fourth quarter of the shloka here is Yaya idam sarvam jagat prasuyate. So Yaya, so that was what we left the first part here in the Anvayam. So the Yaya means by this Shakti or Maya or Avidya alone, idam sarvam jagat, the entire universe, which includes every physical body as well as every subtle body, this universe, prasuyate, is generated, is given birth to. Thus, Karana Shariram is introduced as a part of the universal seed. So we'll stop here. So Karana Shariram topic is over. We will continue in next class. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.